Hi, I'm here with Ebenezer Essoka, Vice Chairman of Standard Chartered Africa at the Abidjan African Development Bank Conference in Ivory Coast. Mr. Essoka, thanks very much for joining us. What has your impression been of the week so far? What are the areas that you have been focused on at the conference so far?
I think, first of all, the sheer energy of the participants excites me. It actually motivates me and gives me the perception that Africa is finally realizing that potential will be realized, but would only be realized if the right conversations are held with the right stakeholders. My perception, positive, energetic, and Standard Chartered's perspective is that until this happens on a consistent basis and we move from talk to action, we won't get real results in the continent.
Do you think, what are the challenges facing the new president of the African Development Bank, whoever that may be?
Well, if you look at the strategy that they've agreed, the African Development Bank, areas of focus, the claim they're going to have, infrastructure, inclusiveness, governance, private sector development, just to name a few. With key deliverables on the gender side, which I've talked of, agriculture and food security are also very important areas I feel they would have to make a difference in. I believe if they can focus on a few of these, then he would have realized major objectives going forward. I'm one of those who believes, and my institution believes in prioritizing to a minimum. So if I'm going to select key ones for him is focus on agriculture, conversations around inclusiveness that go beyond conversations to real action, making it happen. And finally, just keeping an eye on the private sector growth, because those are the key engines that will transform the space.
Inclusiveness is a topic that is talked of in Africa a lot, especially in the banking sector. A lot of people in Africa, many people in Africa, don't have any relationship with the bank. What can the AfDB, Standard Chartered, and other banks on the continent do to improve that statistic?
I think we're having conversations already. In the past, people felt for people to have bank accounts and engage with financial institutions, you needed branches. But today, with digitization being introduced, I see you guys are already going live. This is going to make, and is already making, a major difference. What started in Kenya with Equity Bank and Safaricom is spreading across the continent. Digitization will define the future of financial services sector intervention, and you'll find out that some institutions like myself might be light on infrastructure but more effective because we'll be using digital platforms to transform experiences across the continent.
When you look at the current capital markets and investment space in Africa, what are the key changes that need to be made to encourage outside investment in Africa and investment within Africa itself? Is it changes to capital markets regulation? Is it a better advocacy for African projects? What can be done to improve things?
I think policy reforms are always helpful. You never stand still with policy reforms. So if you're talking of improving the environment, we'll have to deal with policy issues. And those conversations are ongoing. We're working in partnership with various stakeholders to redefine policies that address the needs of today, which have been evolving. With the creativity of the young and dynamic financial institutions that are coming on board, there's a lot more that needs to be done. And usually policy is following the ambitions of these institutions. Standard Chartered, I must tell you, we're not complacent. We're equally involved and being very proactive in growing our value propositions around these areas. But having been in the continent for over 30 years involved in banking, an area of concern and an area that must be addressed would be the consolidation of our stock exchanges. My bank is registered in a few markets, and I'll give you a simple example. We facilitated the process in Ghana of getting the market a bit more efficient in Ghana, and the results were good for everybody. In 2001, I was the chief executive of Standard Chartered Bank in Ghana. The stock price of the bank then was $1.50 per share. By 2008, the stock price was $38 per share. That's how much growth we realized with a little bit of efficiency that was built into the market, working in concert with Securities and Exchange Commission and the stock exchange leadership itself, we're able to realize the results we had. Now, many more companies benefited from that. Ghanaians made are major killing those who invested in Standard Chartered Bank. That is one way in which inclusiveness was realized. Sharing the pie with many more because it got bigger, and only got bigger because we were in a stock exchange that operated well and was a bit more effective. Now, in comparison to some stock exchanges in other markets, in other geographies in Africa which are not liquid, the results are different. It's like day and night. So some work needs to be done there in consolidating the stock markets. Hopefully we'll get scale, and they'll be a bit more liquid, and they'll be deeper. That will help activities and help the corporates that operate in those environments.
Mr. Essoka, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.